What's your least favorite part about prospecting? For a lot of sales professionals, the answer is simple. I hate cold calling. Contacting strangers, especially when they know nothing about your solution, can be daunting. Luckily, you can try another method for easing into introductions: warm calling. So, what is a warm call? Why is it beneficial? And how do you get started? Let's take a look. Warm calls solicit prospects who are familiar with you or your solution. For example, perhaps you met the prospect during a conference and then connected with them on social media. Or maybe a satisfied customer recommended your services to them. Maybe you sent flyers to the prospect to raise awareness about your offerings. Or perhaps that person researched your solution independently and then reached out to you for more information. So, why bother with the extra warm-up step? Why not just cold call your prospects? By creating recognition before soliciting others, you achieve several benefits. First, warm calls offer an easy icebreaker, since you can start a conversation by reminding the prospect who you are. Second, the more information you have about someone, the easier it is to personalize your call. Plus, the extra details will help you better qualify your leads and determine if they're a good fit for your solution. Also, out of respect for your relationship, warm prospects are usually more willing to listen to your message. And finally, a warm lead already knows a bit about your products or services, and that streamlines the sales process. Warm calls are one of the most productive outreach strategies available. By warming up your leads, you'll face less rejection, and you'll find it a lot easier to move through introductory conversations and schedule appointments. So, how do you get started? First, answer the following questions. Do you know your solution? Before calling, you should feel ready to discuss the purpose of your products or services, the problems they solve, the benefits, and how they best the competition. Second, do you have the right prospects? You should only target prospects that are likely to buy. Focus your efforts on contacts similar to your best customers in terms of industry, size, budget, and location. You may be tempted to contact every warm lead that comes across your desk, but double-check that they're worth the effort. Just because you had an exchange with someone on social media doesn't mean they're the perfect buyer. Next, did you research your prospects? The more you know about them, the easier it will be to connect with them. And finally, has there been a trigger event? For example, maybe your prospect shared a relevant article on social media, or maybe their company just published a press release. With the groundwork done, you can start calling. You can think of warm calling within a 5-step framework. First, reintroduce yourself. A great opening covers the prospect's first name, your full name and company information, and a reminder of how you and the prospect know one another. Next, share the reason for the call. This is where a trigger event can come in handy. For example, you might say, I saw that you filled out a form on our website, so I wanted to offer some extra clarity. Then, deliver your value proposition, a short pitch that creates interest in your products or services. When offering a value proposition, consider what industry or company problems your prospect faces and mention those issues up front. Then, share how you solve those problems and present new opportunities. Next, ask open-ended questions to get your prospect talking. The best questions will help you gather information and further qualify your contact. As your prospect answers questions, remember to listen actively and prove your expertise by offering free advice when relevant. Finally, end the call by asking to schedule a meeting, give a powerful closing statement, and try to nail down a specific time. For example, you might say, "Is your calendar handy? I'd like to explore if we'd be a good fit for one another. How's Tuesday at 2 p.m.? Warm calls solicit prospects who've had earlier contact with you or your company through social media, company outreach, networking, or their own interest. Focusing on warm calling can streamline the sales process, so long as you prepare and research in advance of your calls. Then follow a simple calling framework that puts the relationship first. Keep calling and keep connecting. The more warm calls you make, the more likely you will fill your calendar with pitch meetings.